Step 8, or should I say step 8. Step 8 has 2 steps. We made a list of all people harm and became willing to make amends to them all. 2 steps. That's okay, because step 10 really doesn't exist. Don't worry, it really does. But in step 8, we actually have 2 steps. We have an A and a B. So we have 2 words. We have an action word, made, and we have a state of being word, became. So, in step 8, we're making something that didn't exist before. What are we making? We're making a list, and we're also becoming something else. So, step 8 is we made a list of all people we harmed. Guess what? We already made that list right here. In step 4, everything we've done wrong, we did to somebody. That's the list right there. We already have it. On that list, hopefully, is yourself, and hopefully God, the way you offended God, and my wonderful sponsor, Harry E. in Philadelphia, always put it this way: you want to put on your list of people that you harmed, Jesus first, and then others next, and yourself last. You want to put yourself last so you're not selfish. That spells joy. If you do it backwards, that spells yaj, and that doesn't make any sense. That was fun stuff that he told me. This list of all those people we harmed, by the way, all means all. All means everybody that we've ever harmed. Let's take care of all the guilt from everything we've done, not just when we were drunk and high and going off our rocker, but even before that, even before we found drugs and alcohol. Let's make the list of everybody that we've harmed so we can get rid of that guilt. So it's done. Hopefully yourself is on there. You've figured out ways that you've hurt yourself. God, how you've offended God. Hopefully that's on here. And everybody else that you've ever harmed. And then step 8 has a second part, became willing. This is hard. How do I know if I'm willing? How do you know if you're willing to go to war, to take on a new job, to work these steps, to get a sponsor? You only really know you're willing when you've started down that road and you find yourself doing it. If you stop at some point, you weren't as willing as you thought. But hopefully you can become willing to make amends. What is an amend? That's what we're talking about here. What is an amend? First of all, think of it in this term. It's a mend. There was a relationship, like a shirt, and we tore it. And now it's torn. You don't want to wear that. It doesn't work right. It doesn't keep you warm when it needs to. So the mending is the sewing together of something that was torn before, right? We drive our car. Something breaks. We remove and replace so it works again. We want it to work again. So we're going to make amends. We're going to fix. We're going to do some kind of mending to. The A before the mend means we do something to mend. Think of the amendments to the Constitution. We had this Constitution. It was this great thing guaranteeing that law was the king, that we all had certain rights. And then we said, let's also be clear about freedom of speech. Let's be clear about freedom of religion. Let's be clear about the right to bear arms. Let's be clear about income taxes. Let's be clear about outlawing alcohol and then outlawing the outlaw of alcohol, which sometimes we make amends that we undo, which is fine. Sometimes we mend relationships that we decide later should not have been mended and we let them go. That's fine. That's what an amendment is. We're going to make amends to only a few of them. Oh no, I'm sorry. It doesn't say only a few of them. It says all. We've only done this step when we've become willing to make amends to everyone on the list. I had 494 people on my first list. Some of them didn't have names because I didn't remember their names. But I had to become willing to make amends to all of them. I made direct amends to about 20 or 25 people in my first year of sobriety. I wrote 2 letters to 2 women who I'd offended, who I haven't seen since, don't know where they are. Even done some Google search for them, haven't been able to find them. But the point is that the second part of this step is becoming willing to make amends to them all. So, who are those all? Everybody on the list. If we have made this list and we become willing to make amends to them all, we've done step 8. That's that. So that's the end of step 8. Don't stop there. Go on to step 9. You're really making progress now. If you want to get a hold of us, under contacts on theclearviewcenter.com.